I got laid off, applied to 11,200 jobs, and had to move from California to Mexico. I was working as a product marketing manager in B2B tech at a startup, and the company didn't do that well in terms of financials, and they had to make payroll somehow, and so they had to let me go. So this was at no fault of my own. Many of you guys are losing jobs because of AI. In my case, I was using AI to my advantage, but I still got let go. There were we were basically expecting money in the bank in February, and because of some contracts and some signatures, the money didn't show up in the bank, and so the company had to make payroll, and I was cut. And if you're wondering what product marketing is, all product marketing is really taking a SaaS product or physical product and trying to figure out how to communicate that to your customers or buyers. And in my case, I'm working with different functions within the organization, with like the sales team, the product team, customer success, leadership. And so I have to really deal with a lot of different stakeholders on the table. But in my experience, in my case, I was really more focused on working with sales team and the product team. With the product team, I'm working with them in order to communicate what's coming down in the roadmap, what features are going to be released, communicating and shipping that out so that we generate MQLs, we generate revenue. And on the sales side, I'm also working with them in order to best enable them when they're selling. So I'm creating collateral, or I'm training them on pricing or how to position the product or how to talk about the product. So that's really what I was doing. And so it's a very demanding job, an in-demand job in terms of marketing and when you're in marketing. So I realized that even that job is not safe. So if you have just recently got laid off, just know you're not alone. When I first got laid off, that first kind of week or 2 weeks, I didn't really feel anything. I was like, I get to take a break. I get to take a breather. I get to go to the gym at 11 in the morning or 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. whenever I kind of want to, right? I still had a routine. I still would wake up. Immediately after I got laid off, one of the first things I did was apply for unemployment. The second thing I did was fix my resume. And the third thing I did was start applying for jobs. By day 2, I was already applying to jobs, right? And so that's really what you need to do when you get laid off is first file for unemployment. Second, fix your resume, fix your LinkedIn account, and then start applying to jobs by the next day. Hopefully you got laid off on a Monday, so that way you have that Monday, the rest of that Monday to get those 4 things done. And then by Tuesday, you should be applying to as many jobs as possible. And it's interesting because when I got laid off, I had a good relationship with my manager, with the founder as well, or the CEO. I had a good relationship with the product team. I had a good relationship with the sales team. I made this kind of long message on Slack, just saying, because I got laid off, and I sent a message to everyone saying, it was a pleasure working with everyone. Hopefully this isn't a goodbye, but I'll see you soon. And I even got emailed by the CEO saying, thank you for putting community first and being really community focused and thinking about the company and all of your other fellow colleagues. And for me, it's not I left with not a bad lingering taste in my mouth. I'm still hopeful maybe in the future I get to work for the same company, because I liked the people I was working with. I liked the product. I loved working with my manager. I was learning a lot from working with her. And so for me, it was more of like a disappointing, because it wasn't my fault. It was just, the best way I can explain it was, it felt like I was preparing for a fight or preparing for a match, like a soccer match, and you're preparing with your team, you're training in and out day after day, and then the day of the match, you get into like the second quarter of the game, or the last half of the game, and then it starts to rain really bad, and then they cancel the game, and no one wins, and it's just like, I wish I could have just saw it through. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like that. So overall, I got a lot of encouragement and support from my family and my fellow coworkers. I did a podcast interview with my ex-manager, who also got laid off. That was like a year prior. After I got laid off and I went to the gym, I got laid off really early in the morning. So by 11, I think in the morning, I was already at the gym. what am I doing with my life? I already felt like I was behind, right? And so I had like 2 hours there, got my physical training in. You gotta make sure that you have a good body, good mind. That's really, really important. I can't stress that enough. Like having a good routine and sticking to working out is really helpful when it comes to mental health and all of that. And so I really recommend, if you're not working out when you get laid off, start doing some work, even if it's just walking on a treadmill or walking around your neighborhood. That is enough to give you a little bit of a boost when it comes to releasing endorphins or whatever. What's the actual word when you get released? Endorphins, dopamine. Yeah, so like walking is good for you because you're gonna start to release endorphins or dopamine, and so that helps a lot with mental health. So then when I came back from the gym, I started to work on my resume and fix up my LinkedIn. And the next day, when it was time to apply for jobs, I was just mass applying for jobs. I think in today's job search, it's really important to apply to as many jobs as possible because of AI. And I'm gonna get into that in a little bit, like what I mean by that. When I started to apply, I started to realize that there were a lot of fake job listings and a lot of, not fake, but not transparent job listings. And what I mean by that is, once I applied to, let's say, 100 applications, I started to get back interviews because I can apply to like 100, 500, like 100 applications per day. And so by the end of the first week, I've already applied to like 700 applications. And the next week, I started to get back people emailing me or DMing me on LinkedIn. And I realized that a lot of these jobs are, they're commission only jobs, but it doesn't say that in the job application, or they are wanting you to volunteer, but it doesn't say volunteer in the job description or the title. So they're not transparent. I've been in situations where I've applied to a job and I have an interview set up, and I'm thinking, okay, this is the hiring manager or the recruiter, and I'm going to be talking to this person only. And I go into the interview, and there's 5 other people there also being interviewed at the same time that I'm being interviewed. And I'm like, that is a red flag, because I wasn't aware, and nowhere in the job description, nowhere in the email communication did it ever state that this was a multi-person job interview. And there's a lot of bait and switch now in the job searching market, and it's almost predatory to a certain point. And that's what I've been facing a lot, even till today, since February till today. And that's just one of the issues when it comes to the job search market. The second issue is the use and utilization of AI. I don't think I've really heard a lot about this, and I think it's maybe because a lot of people are using this to their advantage. But there are softwares that can mass apply to job listings on LinkedIn, Indeed, Monster, you name it. And you can send, 100 to 1,000 applications per day, per platform, right? Like on LinkedIn, before you could mass apply to 700 applications per day. Really, the only limitation was the job applications that existed on the platform. Now, LinkedIn limits you to apply to only 200 applications per day, I think, when it comes to Easy Apply. And so I've been using this software, and there are other softwares that you can just look up, LinkedIn job application software, and there's like tons of them now. And so I think that's one of the problems with the job search application is the use of like automation and AI when it comes to job search. And I think it also dilutes the quality of applicants per job listing, and why there's 2,000 applications per job listing now, where before, like 3 years ago, it was like 78 or 100, but now it's like thousands and thousands and thousands of applications per one job posting, right? So I think that's the second thing. And now the kind of like the third or fourth issue, I lost count on what I'm on, is people are getting laid off because companies have realized that they don't need so many people working in the organization. Like Elon Musk has proved that companies can run lean. And so you have an issue where people are getting laid off and they're looking for jobs. And then there's also kids who are graduating from university who are also looking for jobs. So we have this system of people losing their jobs, trying to get back into the market, new people who are not in the system trying to get into the system. And then you have people that are in the system with a current job who are doing the work of 2 to 4 people because now they're utilizing AI. And before you're a marketer, you're just specializing in one aspect of marketing, which might be like copywriting. But the company will realize, oh, we can use AI, so let's cut some of the marketing people. So now we don't have a designer. Now we don't have a social media manager. We'll just have that copywriter do the work of 2 to 3 other marketers, and this will be our generalist marketer doing 3 to 4, the work of 3 to 4 people. And so I think that's another issue is companies are now running leaner, using AI to their advantage to not hire. I think that's another issue, like the fake job listings, right? So the companies will say that they're looking for help, that they're going to create a job listing. They put that job listing on LinkedIn. They'll interview people like to the 3rd or 4th stage and then just ghost all of the candidates, so that the person who is, doing the work of 3 to 4 people is thinking, okay, help is coming, it's on the way. But in fact, the company isn't really being transparent and honest, and their intention was never to hire for another role in the first place. So you have all of these problems kind of happening at the same time in 2023, 2024, and that's kind of like what makes up this dumpster fire of a job market. Another thing is I've seen a decrease in job interview rate. Before, in 2020, I was averaging about 5 to 6 interviews per day. And this was before I was using automation, right? Like I was actually applying to jobs, and I would maybe apply to like 30, at the most 40 applications per day. And, once I got the ball rolling, I was getting 5 to 6 interviews per day. It was literally a full-time job plus a side hustle to apply and interview for jobs. And then now I'm applying to about 700 jobs per week with the help of automation and AI. And I was getting like 3 to 4 interviews per week. Now, today, like in this month, I'm only averaging like 1 interview per week. So it's decreasing. And because I'm noticing this trend, it kind of forced me to come up with a new job application strategy. So now, when I think about it as a marketer, is you have inbound and you have outbound. Outbound is the traditional job search method, right? You have a resume, you send it out into the ether, and you get people who are interested in talking to you, who are saying, yes, we'll take you on as a candidate, let's interview, see if it aligns with our needs, and we'll go from there. That is outbound. That's basically like a sales job, right? Like you're looking at companies, you're applying to them, and then you're going from there. Inbound would be creating content and people coming to you and saying, hey, you made this video about talking about marketing, and we're searching for a marketer. We want to see if maybe we can work together, if it's right, if it aligns, if there's a good fit for both of us. That would be like the inbound. And so what I'm currently doing now is I am obviously creating this video for content, but I've created a website called gtmlabs.io where I have all of my product marketing services. You can book a call with me and we can go from there. I have listed all the services like newsletter, ideation, creation, distribution, and management, and content marketing, ideation, creation, distribution, and management, and also like competitive intelligence, which is more of like a specialty or a niche within product marketing. And so I'm now kind of doing a side hustle or trying to create my freelancing or contract book of business while also maintaining that 700 per week application on LinkedIn. So I'm kind of seeing the writing on the wall, and it's saying old traditional method of applying for jobs isn't going to quite do it anymore. And so you need to pivot. Or it's saying position out, like move out of tech, and it's saying go get a blue collar job, go build houses, go do some like electrician work. That's what I'm thinking as well, but I kind of want to stay in tech. I've been working in tech for about 5 years now. I like being a product marketing manager. It's fun. And so I'm at a stage where it's either I kind of move out of the industry or I stick with, I weather the storm, I stay in here, and I just kind of adapt to the new method of applying for jobs and looking for jobs, whether that is becoming a content or an influencer on LinkedIn and making these posts, or creating content on here on YouTube and discovered, or it's creating a website, building a lead list, enriching that lead list, qualifying that lead list, creating an email campaign, using AI to do outreach, or maybe cold calling, whatever it may be, becomes like an actual SDR or BDR, whatever it may be. I'm trying to figure out how to adapt currently. And so if you're watching this and you're thinking, if you don't know like what you're doing or how you're like, man, you're not alone. Just keep trying and keep giving up. Don't give up. Keep trying and don't give up is what I'm trying to say. Maybe that was a Freudian slip, who knows? But that's currently what I'm doing. And it's funny because initially GTMlabs.io first started off when I had an actual 9-to-5 job, when I was working for a company. And it first started because I had all of these ideas of marketing and using softwares, and I didn't want to test these softwares or ideas on the current company before I knew it worked. And so GTM Labs initially started as a kind of like a playground or a testing ground where I get to test these ideas. What if I added 5 call to actions within a newsletter and they were all the same call to action and all the same color and the same font size, the same button? These are ideas that I had that I wanted to test for myself before I brought to my client. And now it's become like I need to survive. Like this is do or die, sink or swim. I'm not even living in California anymore. Like I can't afford to live in California. I had to move out to Mexico in order to just extend my runway in terms of like finances. And since then I've applied to over 11,000 jobs. Just if you average 700 applications per week, I've applied to over 11,000 jobs, and I'm still looking for a job. So now I've had to adapt, GTM Labs, as now I'm outreaching, I'm building a lead list. I am creating email sequences and emailing people for services that I have done in the past. And so I'm still trying to figure out like what to do. So yeah, that's what I'm doing for GTM Labs is I'm offering content marketing, product marketing, competitive intelligence, all the basic product marketing competencies, from positioning to messaging, go-to-market strategies, to executing on them, to competitive intelligence, to you name it. And so that's what I'm currently doing. And I'm trying to basically now build my book of business and just learning new things, right? Like I didn't have the skills of a BDR and SDR, but now I'm like maybe 25% of the way there. I still have yet to cold call people, but I'm thinking about strategically, okay, let me email them first, then send them like a personalized video. And then after that, then let me call them. And if that doesn't work, then I'll just put them as they weren't interested. Or maybe I can take that lead list and then put it into a Facebook ad, Instagram ad, LinkedIn ad campaign, and just run a bunch of ads, A/B test, and then go from there. Maybe that could be like the last step. So I'm thinking about all these things as a marketer, as a business owner. And I hate to say this, but I will never call myself a CEO. I will never call myself a founder. I think it's so cringe. On my LinkedIn right now, nowhere do I have CEO or founder of GTM Labs. If anything, if I do choose to put GTM Labs on my LinkedIn account, it'll be product marketing. That's literally it. Product marketing at GTM Labs. Never will I. No, it's so I'm never gonna. No, thank you. Not for me. Maybe once I have actual employees, like once I actually have a payroll and I'm hiring US employees, then I'll consider calling myself a CEO. But until then, there's no need for that. What else did I talk about? So here's a message to all the viewers right now who have been laid off or who just got laid off. Just know that it's something normal, right? If you work in tech, this is something that's very common. So don't feel like it's your fault. Don't feel you're not competent enough. Don't feel like you're not enough. Well, don't beat yourself up too bad. At a certain point, yes, you could have maybe seen it coming. You could have seen the writing on the wall. You could have been applying to jobs, 4 months before I had that opportunity. So I do blame myself a little bit because I got comfortable. I got comfortable working with a client, and I got comfortable traveling throughout Latin America and taking vacations, like working remote. And now I'm in a position where I have no clients and I'm forced to live in Latin America. And so to a certain point, I do blame myself because I saw it coming, I saw it coming, but I chose to be optimistic. I chose to think we would, our company would like figure it out. I believed in the product. I believed in my manager. I believed in my fellow employees to pull together and to not employees, sorry, my former colleagues, for us to figure it out, to work through it and figure it out. And I do blame myself a little bit, but I only blame myself so I can take responsibility and take ownership and also take accountability and say, I can't let this happen again. I can't get too comfortable where I'm not constantly trying to build something or hunt for new clients. I can't let that happen again. So I'm only blaming myself so that I can learn from it and not repeat the same mistake. But I'm not blaming my competence. I'm not saying that I wasn't. I'm not blaming myself for underperforming or doing the job incorrectly. I'm blaming myself for almost being kind of lazy about building GTM Labs from months ago. I could have done something a little bit differently. So what I'm suggesting is, learn from the mistakes. Figure out also when you're applying to jobs, when you're talking to recruiters, hiring managers, figure out like what's working, what's landing when you're saying things. Have relevant stories that you can, pull from your head that are like perfectly recited with even the tone included, excitement in it, and say it when you're talking to recruiters or hiring managers. That's also another thing, is like think on like what you can do to improve every single week when you're in this game of applying for jobs. I really do believe that we should adopt this mind frame of testing things and learning from our failures in all aspects of life. Think of it as almost like a game, or think of it as an experiment or a hypothesis, and start to take note on what's working and what's not working. Again, going back to the job interview process, what are you saying that's moving you from stage 1 to stage 2 of the hiring process more than the other things that you're saying? That's an example I'll leave there. So I'll close by kind of summarizing what I've talked about. So I'm just someone who got laid off working in tech as a product marketing manager, about 5 years of experience, and navigating the water of being unemployed, of building a business, a side hustle, freelance or contract work, creating content where my face is in it this time instead of creating content of information or sheets or like flyers for like marketing and salespeople or the company. And I'm going to use this platform to kind of just like document the journey. If you go into this channel, you'll see live streams of me working on GTM Labs. I've been doing this since, November of last year, October, maybe September of last year. Actually working on this and being in Argentina and, being like almost like a digital nomad, like working in tech 9-to-5 job, but building a side hustle. And I'm reviewing a lot of products and softwares. One of the things I'm, as like a business owner and trying to build a business, is I'm using software. Like I'm using a CRM system. I'm using AIs to help with creating content. There's softwares that I use to like build presentations and things like that. So I'm always testing softwares, and I kind of like doing that. I like reviewing softwares because I don't know, maybe it's my ADHD and I have to like have this new shiny toy and like test it and play with it. But I also like to talk and like to be presentable. I like to be on camera and talk and discuss things and have my point of view. So I'm going to be doing that and kind of just showing you with the software that I'm using, why I'm using it, the good, the bad of it. Hopefully maybe talking to the founders and getting like an insight of like their marketing strategy and like what they're currently doing, how they started the company, because I always think that's interesting to call it. So if you are into that, if you're into software like I am, and you're into or thinking about starting your own business or like being a freelancer or contractor, or kind of just like want to travel and be a digital nomad, I am working towards that. If you want to see me struggle and you want to see me cry or tear up, I might do that. Well, that might happen. Hopefully not, but you get to watch the whole journey of it all, and maybe even cut some of the learning process or the learning curve a little bit. That's all, and I'll end that there by saying thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Let me know what if you have any questions. I'm curious to like know how you guys are doing, what happened to you, how you got laid off. What are you doing in your journey of being laid off and searching for a job? Are you still looking to be in the industry of tech, or are you moving away from it? I'm kind of curious to see if anyone's going from like white collar jobs to blue collar jobs. But yeah, that's it. Again, Giovanni here, product marketing manager. If you know anyone that's looking for a product marketing manager, let your boy know, okay? And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.